So I'm sitting on this software demo for a call time software that manages candidates' fundraising activity. And I am bored as all heck and ready to like just end the call already. I'm like, this is so boring and so just just uninspiring, right? And then I see this feature where you can automatically leave a voicemail. And I thought, oh my God, this is it. I'm going to bring back the singing voicemails from my past and do something super different. I can't wait to actually use this software. My name is Dave Kerpen, and I am the candidate.
What does it really take to run for local office? On The Candidate, we're pulling back the curtain on the messy, expensive, and sometimes bizarre world of local politics. Join us as we share the unfiltered truth about what happens before you see those campaign signs pop up in your neighborhood. I'm your host, Jess Milanis. We're following serial entrepreneur Dave Kerpen as he dives headfirst into the world of local politics. Ready for a change in the world? This is your opportunity to be the candidate.
That's good to see you again.
Great to see you too. So we went from singing a voicemail on a Ring doorbell to now you're going to do like singing voicemails by phone, or tell me what this
Yeah.
is.
The, I'm gonna actually rewind the clock to, oh my goodness, 25 years ago. 26 years ago. My second job out of college, and a story that I've written about in that book, The Art of People, and that one of my favorite sales stories about standing out. So I was working in sales for Radio Disney in Boston, and this was before the internet. I know it's like crazy and shocking.
What? There was
Even
a time before the internet?
it makes me feel crazy old, but I'm only 48, not that old. And there was a time before the internet, and so I all I had was names and phone numbers of prospects to call. And one of those was the regional marketing manager of Burger King. Her name was Brenda Fuentes. And, it was my job to get Brenda Fuentes on a phone call and eventually to sell her Radio Disney. So I decided I would be creative because why not? Right. And I called Brenda Fuentes every day. But I didn't want to leave voicemails every day because I thought that would be over the top. But I decided once a week I would leave a voicemail. And instead of leaving like an ordinary voicemail, I would sing a song to the tune of a Radio Disney hit song, but change the lyrics. So I would be like, oops, I called you again. You didn't pick up the phone. I guess you're not home. Oh, Brenda, Brenda. So I took like, pop songs,
Yeah.
changed the lyrics and sang. And I was persistent.
Yeah.
And call number 37, 7 weeks in, 7.5 weeks in, and seven crazy voicemails in. Finally, Brenda Fuentes picked up the phone and said, are you ever going to stop leaving those crazy voicemails? And I said, well, Brenda Fuentes, now that you picked up the phone, yes, I am. And we had a great conversation, and she spent $50,000 with us, and I got a $10,000 commission check. And back 25 years ago, and at the age of 22,
Some fat cash.
a $10,000 commission check was pretty sweet, let me tell you. So the moral of the story that I tell and written about, etc., is to be persistent and to be creative. And so fast forward 26 years, and I'm sitting on this call with this vendor, and they're going over how to use the software and make as many calls as you can and put notes in the call, asking for money, etc. And then they show me this auto voicemail thing, and I was thinking, I candidates and PACs and politicians are relentless these days with their texts and even the robocalls, right?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is and I'm running. And I thought I can flip the script on that and go back to singing voicemails, and I can record one song and shed my whole Rolodex, my whole a song, and the worst thing could happen is they think I'm an idiot. The best thing could happen is they write me a check and they tell their friends and they think, wow, Dave's really into this. Dave's really passionate about this, right? So I'll give you a sneak preview, Jess. I just called to say I need you. Please just give me a couple dollars now. I just called to say I love you. And I'll love you even more if you give me just $10. I mean, if you got that on your voicemail,
I would get like, at first I'd be like, what is this? And then I would laugh. And then I'd be like, okay, for $10, done. Because it's
I
great.
think I think it's a nice change of pace from the completely ridiculous,
Hello, this
you
is
know,
Nancy Pelosi. I would
yeah.
like to welcome you to my town hall, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need you in the next 24 hours to give $10 or else, the world's gonna come to an end. And all the scare tactics and the seriousness. And yes, the world is serious. Yes, there's a lot of challenges. But like I'm gonna have fun, and I hope people can have fun through it all, like and smile through it all. Actually, it's crazy. I got a nasty message yesterday. I forgot. I wasn't. We didn't talk about this in a
We
pre-show
didn't.
notes.
We didn't.
I got a nasty message from somebody that said, "How dare you dress in a leisure shirt and smile? There's nothing to smile about right now, so stop grinning." And I was like, one, I'm gonna dress how I want to dress, and two, I'm gonna smile no matter what because smiling is good for health, and it's contagious. And I've been smiling for the last 48 years. I'm not about to change now. And the world is tough, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
challenges in our town and in the world. But I'm gonna face them with a smile on my face, and probably with a polo shirt and not a suit and tie that often. Like that's me. So that might not work for like everyone. I guess don't vote for me. I don't. What can I say? Like, but that's going to be me. But the thing with so I shared that idea, and of course I sang that song with this vendor and one of my consultants on the phone, and they were like shocked. And then one of them said, I said like, what's the downside to being innovative, right? And one of them said, you would be shocked at how little innovation there has been in the world of local politics in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm not shocked because I guess I've seen it as on my end as a constituent, right? As a voter, we've gone from spamming people with email to spamming people with texts to spamming people with robocalls, but there isn't really a lot of innovation. There isn't really a lot of people doing things differently, and
It's a lot of pushing on pain points,
yeah,
always pushing on those pain points. And, we're both in marketing. Pain does sell. But to your point, there's enough pain in the world. Why not make somebody smile?
yeah, and I kind of only know. I mean, I kind of only know one way, and that's to be innovative and to be different and to stand out. And that has helped me a lot in my career, and it's also hurt me. I'm sure there's people that haven't done business with me or haven't wanted to work for me or lot. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of downside. I'm not so arrogant as to think that there isn't a lot of downside at being innovative and taking risks and standing out. I totally get it. But like to quote The Greatest Showman, which is one of my favorite movies and songs. I mean, Keanu Settle, amazing. This is me.
Oh.
Look out, 'cause here I come. I mean,
Oh.
seriously, like this is me, and I got to be me. And
Yeah.
what was so crazy, Jess, was in this call, I went from being like, literally, I'm not kidding, bored out of my mind. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, am I really learning how to use a CRM, like to log every phone call I make? And like, I mean, I talked about this in season one about like call time and asking for money and having a call time manager. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And here I was like, still like, I
Why
didn't
am I
have a,
here?
yeah, like, why am I here? But as soon as I saw the auto voice memo, basically, so I can click one button and have a preset song, or in any recording message. But in my mind, the only
Oh,
recording
it's
message worth
yeah.
sending would be a song, right? Like no one even listens to voicemail, so the chances are like lots of people won't even listen to it. But if they listen to it, I damn well better stand out with an awesome message, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as I heard that, I was like, wow. A, this is me. B, what are 10 other ways that I can be different and stand out in this campaign, right? Like, we're gonna do I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm a huge Mets fan, Jess. We're gonna do vote for Dave Kerpen night. We're gonna get 1,000 tickets at a Mets game. 1,000. So like a massive group. And I can get the tickets super cheap so that I can make this fundraiser like very affordable, and a Mets game. And I'm going to throw out the first pitch, which I'm super
No.
pumped
You're
about.
gonna
Yep.
throw out the first pitch at a Mets game?
It's literally on my bucket list. And I've thrown out 5 minor league first pitches. True story, like reality TV night and baby's first ball game. And of course, a couple other promotions that I organized. And there's a 3-2 count. So I've thrown 3 balls and 2 strikes on my first pitch. So I said to myself, I'm not going to throw another minor league first pitch. I said, I got one more first pitch left in me, and it's got to be a major league. And obviously, it's a 3. I mean, I know you don't know baseball, but 3-2 is a full count. Okay. So one more ball, and I walk the imaginary batter, and one
Yeah.
more strike, and I strike out the imaginary batter. And so on the 3-2 pitch, I got to throw a strike, and it's got to be on a major league mound. So I am just beyond excited to be able to do that. And that, I mean, I just like what I thrive off of is how can I do things differently from the way that they've always been done.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting is that I guess the typical politician thinks how has it always been done? Like, I went to a town hall meeting actually went to my first town hall meeting last night. And I was like, if I'm going to have this job, I better like go to meetings, etc. And honestly, it was horrible. It was super boring. It was the microphone didn't work very well. So like the audio was really bad. There was almost no one in the room. And it was live streamed, so that's good. So we could reach a few more people. But if the audio is completely messed up and you can't even hear on the live stream, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting next to my clerk candidate, and I was like, okay, when we're doing this, we're gonna do things a lot better and a lot differently. Like, first of all, we're gonna fix the sound. That's obvious. But then like we're going to invite, like when I was on the school board, we would always have kids perform before the school board meeting so that all the parents would come to watch their kids perform, and then a lot of them would stay for the school board meeting. Super simple, right? Have
Yeah.
different people perform and use that to bring the crowds in to town hall meetings. I like thinking about how we can do things differently. And when I hear the words, my least favorite words on the planet, but we've always done it this way. It's like why, right? Like why do people? I guess people are afraid of change, but I said to my consultants yesterday after this meeting and this insight, and I'm like, we have to do things differently. Like, Democrats are losing left and right. Like what the playbook's definitely not working. So
Yeah.
anyone that says, yeah, but we've always done it this way, I'm going to be like, yeah, but you're losing. And that doesn't work. And we need to change, and we need to disrupt, and we need to innovate. And yeah, the worst thing that could happen is we make some mistakes along the way, we fail fast, and we change and we keep growing and iterating. And like to me, that's what life is about, Jess. And I every data point of success shows that the most successful people fail a lot more than the least successful people. And it's so counterintuitive to folks when they first hear that. It's like, wait, what? But the reason the most successful people fail so much more is they try so much more and they innovate and they do things and they take chances. And not everything I do is going to work. I get it. But maybe the singing voicemails will, and maybe something else will. And I'm really confident that enough will work if we do things differently that will win this thing.
Oh gosh, I have so many questions and so many different ways that I want to places that I want to go with this. So let's see. Let's
I
talk
know
about.
I talked for too long. I'm sorry, Jess.
No, 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 no. So I love that you're leaning into being different and being you and leaning into innovation because failing fast is the shortcut to success. Like you just said, I 100% believe that. I want to know what are some other ways? I mean, you've talked about the singing voicemails, the Mets game. I know we had an offline conversation about some different ways that you're going to fundraise too. Like, weren't you going to do a webinar
Yes,
fundraiser?
yes, yes. I'm super excited about this. I'm trying to think of like why people outside of my town would write me a check.
Yes.
And so many people, the way they give money in politics, as I've learned, is they go to a fundraiser, they go to an event. And it feels like, you go to an event, you're getting food, you're getting drinks. Okay, sure, I'll write you a check, right? But how does that extend to my massive network outside of the town, right? Like, and why do people care? I'm banking on the fact that people care about likable leadership. And so we are doing a online fundraiser called Likeable Leadership in 2025 and beyond. And we're going to talk about taking the principles of likable leadership that I've been writing about and practicing for the last 20 years and applying that to local government. And I'm going to have lots of special guests. I'm not going to say any names, but
Nope.
there will be some names. And I've done a lot of webinars in the past. I usually do them as free as a lead drivers, right? Actually, we had one of the first ever webinars, the very early days of our social media agency, Jess. And it's a funny story. I digress again. Back in the day, but we were trending on Twitter because it was really easy to trend because it wasn't no one was like
Yeah. On
using
there.
it, and
Yeah.
we were like one of the top 10 topics in the world on Twitter at the time. Had
Whoa.
like 550 people in a webinar, and everyone was tweeting constantly. So we were trending. And then my computer crashed. And the webinar just ended, right? Because my computer died. And so
But was it in time to make the pitch?
no. But I got back on. No, I got back on like 5 minutes later. It was fine. And then when I got back on, I was drinking a beer, and it was funny. But anyway, I'm back. I'm gonna do a webinar, and I don't know if it'll be free. I think it'll probably be free because I just like democratizing access to information. But of course, there'll be pitches to donate to the campaign, and I'm hopeful that will be a really, again, my consultants were like, yeah, you won't raise any money. I was like, okay, let's give it a try.
That's right.
Let's see. So that's an example of on the fundraising side of something very different we're gonna do. Then on the get out the vote side, and I'm giving all my things away, so my opponent can listen and repeat, but that's life. I'm
But
gonna
they won't
do.
have your special sauce.
They won't. I'm gonna do a get out the vote bus with free hot dogs and sodas and waters. So you could get on the bus, have a hot dog, we'll drive you to the polling station, and you'll vote. So these are the kinds of things, like, I just like doing things differently, and again, it doesn't always work. There'll be some people that are like, what? But life is too short not to have fun along the way, and fortune favors the bold. Those are two of the adages that I try to live by, and I think we're gonna win. But if we don't, I'm not gonna regret how we ran the campaign, that we did things differently, that we did things better than maybe typical local politicians try.
I love that. And that's a great note to end on. Fortune favors the bold. So everybody go out and be bold this week. And we will see you next week for episode 3 of season 2. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Paid for by the Friends of Dave Kerpen. Thanks for going behind the scenes with us on The Candidate. If you enjoyed getting the real story about running for office, take a moment to rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. Your support means the world to us. See you next time.